thing I did do is, yes, I changed everything, almost like the steering system. I put a lot of aluminum parts, suspension. I messed with the suspension, and I didn't like all the plastic bearings. Everything here that's been plastic is now metal bearings. Another thing that I didn't like on the kit was the plastic shafts are now steel universal shafts, which are really, really good. They're very responsive. So yeah, this thing is really, really cool. I think this is the best starter kit. Something that's really not a beginner level, for example, would be something like this. And I have a couple of these. This one, let's say this is a TRF series. These are really different. They're a different world. Why? As you can see, I'm going to put them side by side. You can tell, for example, most of the materials here. Obviously, this is not really the best comparison because this is not a stock chassis. Things have been replaced. Like everything aluminum here you see is not stock. It's from TRF, which is the Tamiya Racing Factory, which built these kits. So there's Tamiya, the company, and there's Tamiya Race Factory, which is the ones that build these racing kits. People do actually race these. I personally don't race them. I just love the way they look. I love the engineering behind them, and I love the build process, and I love driving them on. I like to go to some tracks and drive them on there. I've even taken one or two of these to actual real car race tracks, and when I'm done driving the real car, I take one or two of these out and I actually drive on smooth surfaces. So for smooth surfaces and smooth tracks, and if you really know what you're doing and you're somewhat experienced in the RC world, I would definitely go with one of these, which is, it doesn't need to be Tamiya. There's lots of other companies. There's Tamiya, Hot Bodies Racing, there's Associated, there's X-Ray, there's so many good stuff on the market. It's just these look like a piece of art. They really do look pretty cool, and the quality of the suspensions and everything, it's just really one of a kind. Again, back to your beginner chassis, there's not really much you can do to it in terms of tuning. Just strap a good 2-cell lipo over there and a good brushless system, and this thing is going to be fire. They're really, really good. And this one, for example, is waterproof, the whole thing. This one is really good for beginners because you can either keep it stock if you're not that experienced, and if you break any parts, you're not going to worry or cry about it. The parts here are a lot more expensive than this, and again, they're both the same company, but both very, very different and for different purposes. This is more of like a basher's hobbyist car, beginner also. This is more of like the guy that's going to take it a bit more seriously, or in my case, not really take it more seriously, but is more experienced in the RC world and is more kind of involved with it, because fixing these guys is tends to be a bit more expensive and a bit more complicated than this. Also, finding parts for these is not as easy as finding parts for the mainstream standard models. And again, with the standard model, you can just upgrade if you're just going to drive it around like the road and things like that. If you break some parts, you know that you can easily find them. But it's amazing also the width difference. The wheelbase is different, the width is different. It's very interesting.